put it. Oh well.
It's okay.
Not prepared, Luke
It's
2.
okay. No worries. We're good. Anyway, so we are live back on Robot and the Bear, podcast number 92, I believe.
92.
I believe so. It's 92.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while now.
Yes.
Yes. It's pretty good.
And
It's pretty
and
good.
where and what has it done for us?
It has done absolutely nothing except you have experienced people apparently shouting at you. Told me stories of people shouting at you from the street. Robot
Oh,
and the
that
Bear.
happened. That happened once, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty
But
amazing.
maybe it was somebody. I don't even know who it was, but whoever it is, they're one of the 5 people who listen. So
Oh,
there.
yeah, we're doing
They
it for
just happened to
them.
drive by. Yeah, it's exactly what we're doing it for. So you went to a licensing expo.
I did, and you went to. Well, we both went to, but you were working a art book show.
Yes. Los
Yours was.
Angeles Art Book Fair.
Let's start with yours because yours was the week
Yeah,
before.
that's true. It's done by Printed Matter, who has done the LA Art Book Fair for I'm gonna guess it feels like about close to 10 years.
Mhm.
It's usually takes place in Mocha, but they had to move it for whatever reason. And there's a lot of little rumors as to why, but they moved it to Art Center South Campus.
Oh,
But Mocha was a much more central location,
mm,
all under one roof, whereas the version at the Pasadena, like Art Center is actually in separate buildings.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it
that kind
was.
of breaks it apart, and it makes it more cavernous. And there are rooms upstairs instead of one big room upstairs. So you'd go upstairs and you have to go down a hallway and find specific separate rooms. And then there's like 5 vendors in those rooms, and then you have to go to another room and another room, and it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's the best they
Well,
got.
the from my experience, the Geffen Contemporary Mocha ones were also kind of roomish, but it was like literally all under one roof. It
Yeah.
was weird. So I found it was in the art center on one of the art center campuses, right? And like parking was all the way at one end, and it had us walking through like a couple different buildings where they had, a bunch of stuff going on. And we were walking through it and I was going, what is going on here? Like I remember the art book show or whatever it's called being like way more pretentious, way more like, what the fuck am I looking at? And the first half was just like it felt like Zine Fest.
Oh, because you were at the Zine building.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
realize,
Yeah. There's a
what
Zine
was it?
building. It seems like all of it are Zine related.
Yeah, and, it was, it was just a little bit more pleasant than the one that was in the Broad, underground parking lot because, you know, the Zine Fest this year was in the Broad, but, yeah, and then, like, you walk through and there's, like, food vendors and trucks and whatnot, and then finally, like, you get into that one big building and they had a stage like on the roof of that building and they
You
were.
went to the roof?
Yeah, I went to the roof.
Oh, I never made it up there, so I don't know what was up there.
Yeah, just a stage, a
And
couple
what was
of
on the stage?
a young woman and an acoustic guitar when I was there.
Well, did you go at night? No, daytime,
No.
right?
Yeah, during the
So
afternoon.
during the day, there's actually live performers. I didn't even know this. I was
It might,
downstairs, so
it might,
I
it
didn't
might have
even
just
know.
been opening act stuff. I have no idea.
Yeah, but I didn't even realize there was programming on the roof. That's cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so
And I was just downstairs without any knowledge of that. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, we yeah, it was, it's fun. I picked up a book. I don't have it with me because it's in my, you know, tucked in my book collection, but I picked up this book called Kim
Yes.
Jong Un looks at things, and it was it was sold by the same people who had basically, I don't even know how many volumes of One Piece there were, but
Oh, that
they
one. It was all of One Piece in one book.
had
Was that it?
yeah, but
And
Yeah,
the
but like
spine,
it's not all
the
of One
book is.
Piece.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
not.
but no, because One Piece is still being published.
Oh,
Um,
okay, but up to a
yeah.
point maybe because how big was that book? It was like 5 feet
The
or
the
something, or 4 feet, or I don't
no, it was
remember.
the book was about 2 feet long.
That's it,
2 feet,
like this. I thought it was
like
longer, but okay.
maybe a little longer, but like
Yeah,
it looked like it was
one
probably the
long.
first like 40 volumes of
Yeah.
One Piece. There are like 102 volumes right now.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's or
And
something
it's
like that.
just
I
so.
don't like
Oh come on, don't lie. It's
I only
exactly
read it
102.
online, bro. I only read it
But
online. I don't
you knew to say 102. You didn't say 101 or 103. You said 102, so you seem to know more than you read on.
I
But that's okay.
no, no, no.
Y-
Well, it's because I don't collect the taco bonds as they call it.
What's that?
Look at that. I think that means they're the compendiums, the printed
Oh,
yeah,
you're reading them as they come out.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
exactly. I even like I read the spoilers because it's published in Japan first,
Yes.
and then it comes out in the whatchamacallit, like,
It's not fan
um, uh,
subbed at this point, right? It's the
no, oh,
subtitles,
no,
the not subtitles, but I mean the translations. Is it done like professionally now? Like
there's
weekly?
105 volumes, 105
Oh, well, you
volumes.
were close enough. I would have said 25. I wouldn't even known. So that's amazing. But okay,
Yeah, and
you saw
yeah,
that book.
so I saw that, and that same table was selling this crazy, Kim
Wow.
Jong Il point and set things.
That was just on the other side of our table, like the giant
Mhm.
robot table. It
Yeah,
was
on the
like
opposite
literally
end.
behind, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
saw that table.
Yeah, they
Of
had some
course you
pretty
buy the
cool
one
stuff.
where, yeah. Of all things there, you buy the Jong Un pointing at things. Like it's like,
Kim Jong
look, there are
Il, the
cows.
father,
Kim Jong
the
Un.
middle
Oh,
one.
is it this was it the father?
Yeah,
Oh, it was the
Prince.
father. You're right. I thought it was the younger one. I mean, you could make a book with the younger one doing
Yeah.
kind of the same thing,
Yes,
right?
yes, you
It's
can.
like he's looking at sheep and he's going, "Look at sheep," and he's pointing at the sheep, right?
Yes,
It's just like
exactly.
it's so funny.
Apparently, it is based on or inspired by um, a Tumblr account that was
Oh,
publishing
yeah,
these
that's
photos.
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it I mean, that's just one of those things. You have an idea for a book, they make the book with
Hmm.
probably like it's all. I mean, they didn't spend money on rights, obviously,
Obviously,
and they didn't spend much time on writing. Correct? It just
no.
it's all.
It was just literally Kim Jong Un looks at sheep. Kim Jong Un looks at bricks. Kim Jong Un Il looks at this and that, and like that is literally all the copy in the book. And I just
Yeah,
bought it because I thought it was so dumb, and the
but it's just
novelty was
funny.
just
Of all
hilarious.
things, of course, that's what you buy. I mean, that's funny, right? I mean, Luke Chu buys one book. What is it? The Kim Jong Il book.
Il
It's like weird. There's all these like artists struggling, trying to make. Look at me. Look at my art. Look at the art here. Look at and then you buy the North Korea book.
Well,
It's
like
cool though. It's so
I
funny.
walked, I walked away from the event thinking to myself, like, my problem with the art book show is that, sure, like, yes, there are some like publishers out there, creating books filled with art, but most of those tables out there are trying to sell art that just happens to be in the form of a book.
Ah, that's a good observation. That's
And
exactly why you walk through it sometimes confused, right?
right, right,
I
and
look at a lot of books and I'm like, I like it. It looks neat, but I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. And it's
right,
just because it's basically I'm looking at a
a
painting
piece of art,
extrapolated into a book, right?
right,
Or something that I don't
exactly.
get. It's like here it's an abstract installation, but it's actually in the form of a book.
And it's kind of annoying. Like, I remember I was looking at this one table, and the guy was like showing off this crazy, like, 3D printed sleeve that like the book goes in, and I was just looking at it. I'm like, that thing sucks. I would want that
Wow.
nowhere near my fucking collection because it is this weird 3D fucking thing, and if I, like, have a tightly packed fucking bookshelf, it's gonna wreck the book on the left and the right, so I have to give it its own dedicated space for it, and then if I give it its own dedicated space, it's kind of made with, like, a plasticky material, which means that thing's just gonna crumble, like, I don't know, while I'm on my deathbed or some shit
I
like
like
that.
the idea now of making a book that'll damage every book around it. That's like the purpose of the book.
You
It's
know
just
what? I
it's
I
just funny.
was literally this morning, I was cleaning up I was sorting through my book collection, and if you wanna do that, there's only one thing you need to do: spiral bound. Spiral bound your fucking book, and that thing will wreck all your other books. Like, I was putting I was putting away my copy of James Jean's,
Oh,
that
number 2, the second one.
yes.
Process Recess number 2.
2, yep, spiral bound. I had to fucking find a space where, like, the spiral binding peaked above all the other books, so it wouldn't wreck the book, behind it,
Wow.
and it's the same thing with, like, this Designers Republic book that I own called 2D, 3D or something like that,
Right.
and it's got a, metal spiral bound in there, and I had to make
Oh,
sure
wow.
that it wasn't, you know, there, and
So
I think
you're organizing your stuff. That's kind of impressive.
well, it's because I finally, like, moved this bookshelf into my bedroom where so, like, when I wake up, I'm reminded, like, "Oh, that's right, I have to do art shit today." And
Detolfs? No, 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 I'm sorry. The one of those IKEA
oh, yeah, there's IKEA,
thingies.
like, I have a 4 by
One of
4
these.
and a 2 by 4.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. So it's a
yeah.
great shelf to put all your books in, but then I have my extra large books that I have to put on top of it.
Wow.
And so, like, I
Those
was
Taschen book collection you have.
yeah,
All those
yeah,
Taschen books.
actually, those are up there. I've got about 6 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a lot.
The mini sumos. I'm a
You
fan of
have those?
them. Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, whenever they're on
Like Helmut Newton?
let me think. I've got Frida Kahlo, I've got Basquiat, I've
Oh,
got,
wow.
um, um, this is, like, whatever, like,
Well,
kind of
there's like so
notable.
many, but you don't have the legit sumo, like the big.
No, no, no,
That's
no, no.
okay, because that thing is like 2 by 3, or it's like it's those things are like 100 pounds or something.
Yeah, I own
Yeah.
one, and I own
Wow.
the, Mark Ryden Pinksit,
Wow.
book. Yeah, so and
Cool.
that was like $1,000 to buy because it's so
Wow.
stupidly huge and, you know, whatever,
Cool.
and I'm
It's probably
like,
worth more than that now, right? I mean, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I have
yeah,
no idea either.
no idea. Really look I don't buy to for value, for future value. That's just kind of ridiculous, you know?
Yeah, but the future came, so now I'm just curious what it became. You
Well,
know?
I do know, like, so, I bought that one, but I also bought a smaller one on Amazon, which is about the size of a Minissimo, and
Oh, wow.
I was looking at the price that I paid for on Amazon, and I paid $45 for it, and now it's being sold for, like, $350 or
Oh,
something like that.
wow.
So,
There you go.
there you go.
There you go.
Mark Ryden.
Profiteering off Mark Ryden. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I will do the book fair again, but I think the sales for me were lower than previous art book fairs.
Do you think it's because of the move or it's because of economic uncertainty or, the
I think it's
taco
both.
thing?
I think definitely the move makes a difference
Yeah.
because Thursday night is a preview night
Mm,
at the book fair, and the
mhm,
preview night at Mocha has like, I think there's people drinking beer and wine. Like it was people dressed up, kind of like a little more party atmosphere, more fancy.
mhm.
This version was not. It was definitely not fancy, and it was just like it was as if it was just open on Thursday night instead of a party on Thursday night, like
Oh,
VIP thing, right? It didn't feel VIP. It
right.
felt like it was just open. So maybe, I mean, that alone is, I can see the difference in the clientele right
Mhm,
there.
mhm.
Not that, that it does really well on Thursday night, because usually people don't buy shit on Thursday night. It's just like a party. But likewise, it looked like a different group of people, kind of. So in that
Mm,
way, it's possible that the big money spenders are those that come to party
mhm.
with wine. I don't know though. Like it just looked like a little more like an art show opening when it was at Mocha versus at Art Center. Or I'm sorry, yeah, Art Center didn't feel as much.
Right. Well, I mean, the Mocha's the Mocha, and
Yeah,
Art
yeah.
Center's Art Center.
It's where there's students, right? It's a
Right.
student. Yeah. So
Yeah.
in that way, it's different. But
Yeah.
either way, it's still fun. It was to me. It's I love it. Like it is for me just a lot of fun. Whether I like the books or not,
Mhm.
I just love seeing. I like being around all that paper.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
I can't resist going to that thing. Like, I bought tickets to go to it because I remember the last time I tried getting into it, it was like like, I think Sunday is the free day, and it's a
Yeah.
madhouse. It's a madhouse to get into that.
Was it a madhouse this year to get in?
Well, I went on Saturday,
Oh, you did. Yeah.
and I paid the $5,
Right.
to attend, and just so I didn't have to fucking deal with, like, waiting in line and,
Did you
you
have to
know
wait in line?
no, no, I just walked
Oh,
in,
okay.
and, like, checked, they scanned my ticket and, gave me
I
a little
wonder.
wristband.
Like, I wonder if. I mean, would it be any different? Like, if it were at Mocha, would there have been a line even on a Saturday, even if you already had a ticket? You know what I'm saying? Like, would there
No,
have been more people regardless, or do you think it was just like you walk right in and the
no,
line is averted? I feel like there was a line the last time at Mocha, even on the days where people had tickets.
oh, really?
Yeah, I
Hmm.
feel like it had a line anyway because it was more crowded. That's kind of the vibe I kind of feel like. I
Oh,
recall. So yeah, I'm thinking there was just less people, but it's okay. It was still, to me, a lot of fun. I mean, I really dig it.
yeah,
Like I'm having a blast. So I love it. So it's great.
oh, the reason why they couldn't show it is because they have the what's it, Olafur Eliasson, show.
So I heard a lot of rumors. Okay, here's the rumor part of the Robot in the Bear because we're good at that. Um,
Yes. Yes, we are.
now I've heard from more than one person that Mocha doesn't want the book fair there anymore. I've
Oh.
heard that a couple of times. So, therefore, here it is at Art Center. And I mean, people have said, okay, supposedly it's going to be every other year. So
Mhm,
next year there will be no LA Art Book Fair and
mhm.
it'll come back in 2027. But then I'm hearing people say, no, it's going to happen next year. Likewise,
At
the
the
New
Geffen?
York Art, well, no, it
No.
might be at Art Center again.
Oh,
But
okay.
I did hear it might be at the Geffen. See, it's like that's
More
another rumor.
T-shirts at
But
the Pasadena Art Center, man.
but
No
those are but
suits,
the
no ties.
But those are all like rumors. I mean, it might be at Mocha, but then I heard Mocha treated everybody bad and they don't want it there. I don't know if that's true.
Oh.
And then
Mm,
I heard it was a scheduling conflict with Mocha. Therefore, it is at Art Center this year, but it won't happen again
mm.
that way. But then, likewise, New York Art Book Fair is supposed to be every other year. They alternate with LA.
Okay.
But then, lo and behold, there are tickets to the New York Art Book Fair. Just they went on sale. You know what I mean? Like it's happening. So it happened
This year.
last year. It's going to happen this year too.
Oh.
So this every other year thing sounds like that's out the window. Like maybe
Mm,
it's going to be every year back. You know what I mean? Because
mhm.
it didn't happen in LA last year.
Right.
They said it's skipping a year every other year. So it seems like it's going to be every year is the vibe I get. But of course, there's no information on that.
Mm.
So
Well,
hey, there you go. But
I can see them. I can see the Mocha not liking that event being there.
that's lame though. I wonder why.
It probably cheapens the space.
You think?
You have a whole bunch of freaking like scruffy book nerds, like,
That's the
trolling
people's money,
around.
isn't it?
Yeah, but like they're not getting the Mocha's not getting the money. Like the Mocha is just getting the money from the rental of the space.
Yeah, but aren't they like an org? Like aren't they for the
For
whatever?
the people, apparently
Yeah, I
not.
don't know. I guess. See, apparently not. I guess
Mm,
if that's the case, but I don't know. It
mm.
just seems like it was such a good fit there, and the event seemed so great. Like it just
Yeah,
seemed like a
it, it
win-win.
it was a win because you're there in little Tokyo. You're there like
See,
you know mulling around.
The train drops people off right
The
there
train
too.
drops people right there. It's so
Right.
good.
I mean, also at Art Center, it does drop you off right there too, evidently.
There's a train
But
there. Oh yeah, there is,
yeah,
isn't there?
there is a train stop near the zine area, evidently. It's like up
Yeah.
there.
There's a
I,
parking
you
lot
know,
for the metro there.
but then
So,
I did hear a lot of people complain about parking.
oh, it was bad. It was
And
bad.
that's what I heard. And I've never heard that as much when it was at Mocha because I think
Because
downtown is
everyone
better.
expects people everyone expects it to be bad at
But I
the
think they have a better infrastructure for parking, right? It's downtown in Little Tokyo. There's more parking
Mm,
probably available than whatever Pasadena Art Center area has.
sure, sure.
I think that's a problem, especially if you're bringing in, I don't know, many thousands of people. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That
Mm,
said, yeah, you had trouble parking probably.
yeah, no, it's
I heard
it
that a
was
lot.
I got ins as fine, but I it took forever to get out.
Oh
Like,
wow, really?
yeah, like
Shit, I had
we
no
were
idea.
like waiting around, like just kind of like slowly kind of crawling out like every,
Oh,
like it took probably like 20 minutes
oh
to
wow,
get out of because
that
we had to
sucks.
park. We ended up parking like on the top floor and
Oh
uh,
geez,
so, but
I don't know, man.
I'm
Like
glad
I
I
said,
went.
I
I'm glad.
love that event.
Yeah, it's a great.
I wish it
It's a
was.
great.
I wish it was longer. I wish it was 2 weeks long. I would be there every day for 2 weeks straight.
Oh, yeah, and if it was 2 weeks long, it gives you enough time to kind of like really get acclimated to like what's going on there.
Yeah, I
Is
don't
that
know.
way you can
Again,
familiarize yourself with like the kind of material and like actually get a feel for the value of it because
yeah,
it's it's almost impossible to just kind of like go
yeah.
through it in one day and see even like 30% of it.
So
It's
it closes at 7. Here's a criticism. Let's say you have a pass to get in at 4 p.m.
mm,
It closes at 7 p.m., I think,
mm,
or 6 or 7. All right. So that means you have 3 hours to see all of that. You can't see all of that in 3 hours.
no,
You can't do it. It's like impossible. You could run right through it and not see anything. But if you're actually looking at stuff, you can't do it in 3. You're
mm-mm.
really missing. You're gonna miss that one of the buildings. Like you
Yeah,
can see
or
one
one of the
building in 3,
rooms. Yeah,
maybe.
you're gonna miss like five, and miss a couple.
I feel like you're gonna see one building and you won't even make it to the other building in 3 hours. That's my opinion. But
No,
and
no.
plus, you take breaks. If you should take breaks if you're gonna be looking at that many books at once.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like if you're
no.
looking at books, you can't. You got to take a break because there's a point where. So anyone who goes to a book fair or a zine fest,
Mhm.
if there's a point where you start walking past tables and just glancing and going, nah, nothing here, that means you're burnt out because you don't even want to stop and look because like there's no way you're gonna glance and look at like 20 titles of books and go, yeah, no, and then
That means I need breaks every 10 fucking minutes.
yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
the more breaks, the better, because then you'll like kind of, there's so many tables that I kind of kept going back to because I'm like, they're interesting, but then there's
Did
some
you
that I just would blow by. So
did you buy anything?
yes, I bought a few things.
Hmm.
Does
Tell
that
me what
help?
share.
Okay, okay. I wasn't sure what you hit. So one of them was a flyer, like I mean, meaning I don't know what the heck I bought, but it was a book by a person named Sai Wen Yu,
Okay.
and she wrote a book. It looks kind of like a manifesto, but it's like a small book, really kind of thick, and it's called "When You Make No Art." And it has writing, and it kind of read like the first beginning started to read kind of zine like personal. And
Hmm.
I was kind of like, oh, I want to read this. So I actually bought that because it has some photos, but mostly writing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy that. So I bought that.
Hmm.
And then, and the person turns out they make a magazine called 4H out of New York. And it's like an art magazine. And I think they did 3 issues. And, Giant Robot is in an exhibition now in New York at the Museum of Chinese Americans, I think.
Oh, really?
It's also MoCA, Museum of Chinese Americans. Uh-oh.
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 Getting-
Literally, it is called MoCA out there. But then, there's an exhibition on Gen X Asian American magazine. So we're in that. And
Mm.
she is making a newer magazine. So they had like a separate room for current like Asian American magazines, which 4-H was part of, or 4-H, 4-H, yeah. And I
What
think
does
she's making her
4-H
fourth.
stand for?
Four. I have no idea. But she's making her fourth issue's coming out really soon, and so okay, I bought that book, and then there was a book by I want to say Asian publisher. I'm not sure where, but it was by a Hong Kong artist, and they made a book about Manchuria, but Japanese occupied Manchuria,
Mm.
that era from World War II. So it has like maps, photos, and writing. And the first paragraph of that begins with the idea, okay, so there was a Japanese, like a railroad that they made,
Mm.
you know, and that they were going to colonize it. You know, it's going to become like little Japan, but in Manchuria, like China, right?
Mm.
And the first sentence uses the word fantasy, the Japanese fantasy of creating a, you know, I was like, awesome. It's from the other side, right?
Mm.
This isn't a Japanese book about occupied Manchuria. This is like a book by it's from the other side, the other viewpoint. So right away it starts to
From
make
the Manchurian
no, like, or if it's a Hong Kong artist, but I mean they're kind of, yeah, definitely take. It's not on Japan's side whatsoever. It's right away kind of making fun of it, right? Saying that, oh yeah, it's the fantasy of making a railroad or a fantasy of creating a land there. Anyway, so it turns out my aunt was born in Manchuria and my mom was born in occupied Korea, like actually, right? So my family, so I don't know anything about it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this book from an art viewpoint, but it's about Manchuria and the Japanese occupation, where my mom actually, I believe she lived in Manchuria too as a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know much about it, but this now I'm gonna read that book and learn.
Colonizer.
So,
Wow.
yeah. No, literally. I mean, they have no choice. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, do you think I'm
I
positive
mean, they're
they want to be
kids.
there?
They're
They're children. But like, I guess my grandfather, like, so I kind of don't know what he did during World War II, right? My grandfather, but he was part of somewhere in related to that because he had to move to Korea, technically North Korea, and Manchuria, meaning he had to move with his wife and whatever kids he had to these places, right? It's like to colonize the area.
Right.
And he worked somehow for the government, but I don't know what. And I know he wasn't a soldier. Like
No.
anyway.
So I met he brought his wife and kid with him.
Yeah. But like he did something related, but I just know that like, I mean, I remember him, man. He was kind of like a goofy Joker guy, you know, like he'd be a bad soldier. He'd be bad. Like, I think he's good at bribing and like, he's kind of like, you know, like he's more of like a funny guy like that, more so like than being evil.
Right.
But who knows, right? It's like wartime and, you know, people are treating people like shit. So I
1930s
don't know, but then
boys were crazy.
So when I went to China and I like met people, like this is like a long time ago, I would explain this and they would ask, okay, so that means your grandfather killed people, right? And I was like, oh, no. He was a chef. He just cooked. Wait, which isn't true. But I didn't know what to say. I was kind of like, oh, they're getting to, you know, like they want to know if he killed Chinese people, right?
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's a touchy subject.
Which I don't know, but I was like, no, he just cooked. He made like curry and shit. And everyone would just start laughing. And I was like, yeah, he was a chef. He was a cook. He doesn't know how to do that. So that would be my quick out because I really did. And I still don't know what he did, but I don't think.
No, that's
nefarious. Anyways, so I bought that book and I bought something else, which I don't remember, but whatever. Yeah. Either way, it was a good time. But yeah, those are the two things I bought that are quite memorable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Book fair wrapped. Is that a wrap on the book fair?
Sure. Let's wrap it up on the book fair.
Is there anything else to know about the book fair? That's a wrap, huh?
You know, I just don't understand like why, like, you know, publishers like Taschen or any
they're
of
not
like
even there.
Yeah, they're not there. They're not there.
You're right, huh? I mean, I don't know if Taschen's where they're based, but I mean, yeah, you would think that they would. I mean, there's all these smaller publishers flying out from places, even from Europe, tons from Mexico City this year. I don't know why. There's people from Japan, right? All these publishers from all over the place. Yeah, Taschen's not there.
Taschen's not there.
I mean,
Taschen.
that would be like going to like Designer Con and having Metacom there, right? It's like art book fair, Taschen. They have a booth, but maybe it's just too big. I mean, they're too big. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't
Like
know.
Fight in Books
Yeah,
isn't there.
Fiden, Taschen, like what? Where are they?
You're right.
That's the reason why it's not like a book of art. It's art as a book, and it's exciting. I love going to it. I really do love going to it. I keep thinking that like I'm going to like walk through there and something will catch my eye and I'll open it and suddenly ideas will just like pound my head, and I'll be like, oh my god, I gotta go and I gotta drop everything and go to the studio and work. And no, it doesn't never plays out like that.
Wow.
Never
Ouchie.
never plays out
That's a
like that.
that's a that's a slap in the slap in the ass, I guess.
Well, what's
Forget it.
funny is that like when I
Forget
look
it.
at it when I look at it, it it reminds me of like how I was when I was a student. Like I wanted to create like eccentric, weird, experimental, like unique publications. I published a zine a long time ago. It was called EXP, and it was dedicated to like the IDM or intelligent dance music genres of music and some more experimental sonic kind of stuff. And
And Luke mailed it to me when I was making Giant Robot.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I have copies of it, dude.
I never sent it.
I have. How
I
did I get copies of that? I have
I
copies
was
of it.
I was literally giving it away at places like Aaron Records and Amoeba Records and stuff like that.
I don't know, man. I don't know how I would have got it,
Like,
but I
it,
have. I
I
got it.
mean, you remember you went to Aaron Records, right?
Not much, but sometimes, yeah, I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think
Like,
I grabbed it? It was free. I just grabbed
yeah,
it there for
it was
free.
free. It was free.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe I just grabbed it there. I thought you mailed it, maybe. So
No,
I have copies of that to this
no.
day.
I wouldn't have known where to mail it to.
PO Box six
Yeah,
four 2053.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
I wouldn't have known. Yeah,
All right.
honestly, unless you
It's in
like
the
maybe the PR people that I was sending him to like pass one on to you or
Wow,
something.
you did that? Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, but I think I have more than one copy, and one came in an envelope. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they all came like they came out. The idea was like this kind of deconstructed zine where like
Oh, this is getting arty. You use the word deconstruction. We have hit art.
yeah, like where like I would print these things on large sheets of paper and have them folded all down in like map style and stuffed in envelopes. And when you open it up, like the articles are all over the place, going in every direction. And I really
You
pushed.
thought you were David Carson?
I wanted to be David Carson. Oh, 100 fucking percent. Like
So
he
did
was,
I.
he's amazing.
So did I. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but
I think I met David Carson at a Giant Robot once. I think he came in like
oh
GR2.
no way.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
met David Carson there. I was like, "Whoa, dude, dear David Carson."
he was David Carson. A lot of illustrators, that eventually that became artists like David Cho. I know I have an old issue of Reagan that David was in like the like Sonic to uh, whatever they called it.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah,
like music.
So
Yeah.
David Carson was what, the art director, or was he? Did he own the whole thing? I have no
He
idea.
was just the art director.
Okay,
But
he's the art director of a magazine called Ray Gun that
yeah,
was, I think, published out of Los Angeles, right?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so. Yeah.
yeah.
So I
And
was a
his
huge fan of.
design was absolutely was totally kind of out of control sometimes.
Oh, it was completely out of control. I think he had
Yeah.
like articles that were nothing but Zaf Dingbats, and like then it came with a little decoder,
Oh
like
wow,
published in there, so like
wow,
black square is A, you know,
wow.
hollow triangle is B.
Yeah. No, it had some really wild design.
Yeah, he did one
Yeah.
with nothing but like freaking Apple default fonts, like Chicago and what was there was Los Angeles and like Paris, like
Chicago's a pretty solid one. That's weird, right? That's like,
yeah,
whoa.
it's a very distinct digital
Yeah.
font.
Yeah, yeah. Did he do it with Courier? Just all Courier. Could have been, right?
I can
Yeah.
imagine him doing that, but,
Yeah.
yeah, he was so yeah, that wa and so when I look at the art book fair, I it reminds me of that, and it makes me feel like I was a student, and I hate that feeling. I hate feeling like an aspiring professional,
Oh.
you know, versus being a professional.
So you think there are all a lot of people there are aspiring professionals?
No, I mean, like, that I'm sure because I don't really do graphic design that much anymore, so
I see.
I think a lot of these people were doing, like I saw this one book and it was filled with nothing but like weird die cuts that like of and it was kind of accordion folded or French folded. And French fold is where you take a long sheet of paper and you like fold it accordion style. And
That's
then
called the French fold?
mhm,
Oh, okay.
and that way instead of flipping the paper to print the other side, just the other side of the sheet is just the folded, accordion
Gotcha.
style. Yeah. And I was just looking at that and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And B, like like painful to create. And whoever like cut these parts out and this and that, like that's just so time consuming. So freaking like, you know, just a real like work of passion. And then to actually publish it and try and sell it, like I don't even know how much you could sell that thing for. Like I wouldn't sell
Yeah.
it for like just thinking about the amount of time that went into it, and cleaning it up and making sure that it was like presentable. Like that's like hundreds of hours. And if I were going to give myself an hourly rate, like the amount that I would have to charge for that thing, no one would buy it.
Right. Mm,
So, like when I see that, it's like, oh, that's like student work, and it's over
I see.
ambitious, like kind of
Gotcha.
impractical, and yeah, I would not. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. Yeah, it's painful to look at to a certain degree because I think about like where I am, where I was then, where I am now, and like how I wanted nothing but just a little bit of like respect or accolades, for the amount of work that I would put into something. And then I found
Gotcha.
bears.
Life became bears.
Life became bears.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I last week went, or earlier was it this week? No, it was last week. Last week I went to Las Vegas and attended the um, licensing expo. It's funny because like, growing up in the 90s, you know, we had this thing that I don't think is really much of a thing anymore. And that thing is called selling out. And selling out is basically a way of suggesting that you compromised your ideals, for a cash grab. And I think I used to like judge a lot of like artists, especially like musical artists, for whether or not they sold out or not. And by like maybe changing their style, changing their, um, you know, like sound or whatever in order to be able to get a larger audience. And I think I kind of feared that for myself for the longest time. And now that I am like at the age that I'm at living in the times that I am, and trying to figure out like, is there any way I could one day like put the brush down and enjoy something of a akin to some kind of retirement where I'm not constantly hustling and hoping that like my work is relevant enough to be able to um you know make a sale to The next exit would be licensing. Trying to get the interests of some kind of corporate overlord to like help push my work to a larger audience or whatever in one form or another. Maybe it's on a t-shirt, maybe it's on the cover of a record, maybe it's in a magazine, maybe it's in the form of an animation, something like that. And because I don't know how to do animation, and I don't have the time to learn how to do animation, you know, this is the next thing. I feel like this is the only way for me to kind of hopefully make something more than what is essentially paycheck to paycheck living, you know and
So was it to go and find what do you call it? Animation related anything?
um the idea was just to go and potentially plant seeds for ideas,
I see.
and the licensing expo is held at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center, and it's pretty big. And I would say that it is kind of broken down into like three sections that kind of blend into each other. When I walked in after checking in stuff, I was basically greeted. I saw the Mattel booth. It's huge. It's got gigantic freaking statues of like their IPs, and as you walk through, like the first section is the huge, you know, companies that own massive IPs, and so like My Little Pony, Hasbro, and animation studios and Warner Brothers and whatever were all there. And it's like a trade show. Like they're not selling products. They are taking meetings. A lot of people are basically kind of setting up meetings way beforehand.
Sure. I was
And
like wondering how that worked. If you show up to Mattel, they're not going to give you a meeting right on the spot.
no, they're not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I'm guessing that like so there's licensees and licensors, and I keep messing up which one's which. A licensee is the one who gets licenses, and the licensor is the one who gives their license or sells their license, I think, right? And
Sure. You
so,
so you would be a person selling a
yeah,
license to your
yeah, I
art.
would be a
Yeah.
licensor,
Right.
and then like somewhere in the middle is the agents,
Oh, I
and
see. I know some, or I know at least, well, a couple maybe.
mm,
Yeah.
and
It, there's not much. There's not much meat on the bone for, you know what I mean. Like it works for them, but if you like, if I like, let's say partnered and try to do something, you've got to sell so many units that I remember the math was. I'm like, oh my god, like to make a buck, you're gonna have a hard time.
right, right,
Like
yeah,
that's what I came out with it. I was like, oh, this needs to be on a massive scale. You can't do like some licensing thing that's kind of indie. Well, not with some of the brands, but
hmm.
maybe you can. I don't know. Anyways, keep going. So you saw the big guys.
And I saw the big guys, and then there's the license the agents, and I
Is that
walked
a separate
around.
room, or is
No,
it, it's
it's just it kind of blends into them, and like you'll see their
so because you
booths.
said there's like three sections, so that's like section two is the middle people,
Yeah, hmm,
middle agents. I don't know what you call it.
yeah, like
What do their booths look like?
um. So like one
Like
of
is it
them,
just says like like George Smith's middleman licensing booth? What is
well, there's a place
you
called
know?
there's a company that I stopped by, and I talked to some people called ArtStar,
Uh-huh.
ARTESTAR, and
Oh
like
wow,
they deal with like.
that sounds familiar. By the way.
Oh, yeah, 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 you would know their work. Like, they
Okay,
do, like, um, whatchamacallit, oh, geez, Warhol, Basquiat,
gotcha.
you
Okay,
know, like, all of
gotcha.
that stuff,
Yep,
and
yep.
Gary Baseman,
Oh wow.
was represented there,
Oh
and,
wow.
um, And then like I was kind of I mulled around there. There was a lot of food
Mm.
licensing stuff going on there. Like, and so like, you walk at a booth and they have a gigantic bowl and they're like handing out candy with like different branding and different, stuff on there. And then at the very back where the little like 10 by 10s and the 10 by like a 10-foot by 10-foot booth, you know, walls, a table, whatever.
Right.
And that was kind of like the saddest section, you
Oh
know.
wow.
Yeah, it was like the small licensors. Usually they would have like a group of people over there, like kind of renting a booth out together, or they would all like they'd they'd come together as a group, and you'd see a lot of like people just kind of sitting quietly at their.
Like are they artists? Like let's say yourself and you
Mm,
getting together with like a couple of other artists and you go, here's our stuff.
yeah,
Somebody come and like pimp us out to somebody else, or
exactly,
right? That's kind
exactly.
of your weighing sort of, I guess.
It's kind of like,
Like
it's a way to
like
try and get some kind of exposure,
I see.
hopefully, like, people and then, like well, I guess there's technically a 4th section, and that's the rooms, and, like, so or surrounding that area were all these, like, windowless rooms, just, solid doors, and you'd see, like, name tags on top of it, like Capcom, the video game producer, or,
Mm,
and, like, I think that's where they go to take, private meetings,
I see.
with
Gotcha.
people, and,
I see.
like, CAA was there and,
Right.
all these other people, and, it was interesting. I did meet people. I got recognized quite a bit, more than I expected, at least a couple of times. It's funny because I was at the ArtStar booth talking to, like, I guess the media manager or something like that. That's what it said on the card. And then, like, this guy just fucking, like, just walks up and he's like, "Are you Luke Chu? Oh my god, blah blah blah. I'm a big fan." And then he goes off, and I was like, I did not pay this guy to do this.
Right.
And, like, I basically, like I said, like, I had no idea what to expect, going to this. It cost $35 to attend, and I bought tickets, like, months ahead of time, in anticipation for this. And then, the second day I met a
Oh, so you went
another
more than one day. Wow.
yeah, like well, while I was out there on the first day, I ran into like Anj and I ran into Ben Gretzky from 3D Retro,
Sure.
and they were just kind of looking around, and then yeah, like yeah, I don't know, I think it was you know, I thought it was interesting. And the second day when I went back, I saw another um, like booth for another group called Seminole Artist Group, and like I was recognized there by the owner of the company, and they're like, oh, let's definitely talk, and I'm like, all right, let's talk. And so I've been like since then I've been doing email interactions to do a meeting and see what can come of this. But I don't know. I still really don't know what I would want to do as a licensing thing. I think the most obvious like thing is animation, but um
Okay,
like
so I mean, let's say you were there and you're walking around and you're like, "Oh, there's I don't know, is it a t-shirt company maybe is there? Are there clothing people there?"
I didn't see any, but
Oh, there
like
so there weren't see that doesn't I totally don't get it. Like I'm there and thinking, well, if, let's say there was a clothing brand and would you be like, "Yeah, I
well,
want to I would
if,
love to
if there was a
do a
company.
project with you guys."
If
But
there was one, like, they kind of, like, wrapped themselves up in the guise of, like, I think I saw one that might have been apparel related, but, like,
God, if
you
you
know,
don't know, that's
they
pretty weird.
they had, like, just a whole like, their booth was, like, slathered with, like, band names, like, these are the
Mm.
artists that they
But
work with.
like, well, for example, does Tokidoki have a booth there?
Tokidoki has a booth there. I saw
Okay.
Simone, in the booth, but I didn't get a chance to
Is
see.
Ugly Doll there with a booth,
I would imagine that they did, but I didn't if they did, I didn't see
for
it.
example? I don't know. I'm just trying to think what might be there. I don't really know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
like
I thought there would be more apparel brands, but I guess because there's a lot of collaborations with apparel. It seems like
sure, sure, but I think
like what if you're like, I want my Luke Chew bear on a sneaker. Was there a way to like to
I
find a route to get there?
I didn't see Nike, I didn't see
Yeah.
Adidas, I didn't
Mm,
see any of, like, the major sports apparel brands. You would think
right.
that they were there, and if they were there, then I just kind of missed them, but,
Hmm.
like, a
I'm
lot
sort
of
of like
these
trying to figure out what would a person do there. Like, let's say you showed up, what would you do differently next year to like
well,
make things
um
better for yourself, or like would you do anything different next year if you were to go to this?
um, I don't know if I'd go there next year.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I'm not really sure. Like, I think that like, I can't I attended, as, well as much much as I could. Like, I printed up postcards to,
Oh wow.
you
Oh, you're
know
serious. Look at that.
yeah,
Awesome.
to hand out and, had, like, all my, like, different, like, swag to give, like,
Yeah.
stickers and pins and this and that. But, like, it was, I don't know. It was I definitely feel like I didn't see everything. It's kinda hard to
Well, what is Ben doing and what is Ancha doing there? They must have had like a
on just
different
take
experience.
on just taking meetings. I know that. Like, a
But
lot
how
of
does he do that?
these they contact him,
They
and they
contact him and
yeah,
he's not. How do they even know who he is? Like, you're.
he is
I mean,
representation he
I
has
know he's out there, but
representation. Yeah,
I see. Okay,
so,
good.
like but, apparently, like, because I was asking him a bunch of questions,
Yeah,
beforehand, and he was, like, saying, like, "Oh, a
because he
lot
does
of
a lot
these"
of collabs and stuff, right? He's doing.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like, Artstar handles Keith Haring, and he did an Onsha Keith Haring thing for,
Oh
like,
wow.
a while ago, like, a year ago for that ended up, you know, having products in because I think he's also, like, a licensee. Like, he, acquire he gets his hands on licenses and does collaborations with them and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It was interesting.
Hmm.
It was, beautiful being out there. It was like, I think the hottest it got was like 96, 97 degrees, which is hot as fuck, but it wasn't 115, 120 degrees. So, like
But you're inside anyway, right?
yeah, you're inside and, most of Vegas is air conditioned anyways.
Yeah.
So,
Did you get one of those drink? Oh, you don't drink, but
no.
one of those long drinks that the weird long. I see every time I see Las Vegas videos, there's somebody holding a drink that's like 3 feet long and it's red, usually a red drink.
Yeah, or like a neon pink one. Actually,
Yeah,
what's funny
I don't know.
is that like my girlfriend Rachel who went with me is very familiar with like the food scene and she worked in that and she also like does writing in that for
Yeah.
that
Yes.
thing.
She's written books on what do you call it? Steel pan? No, what's it called?
Cast
Cast iron pans.
iron, yeah, cast iron
She's written
stuff,
she's written
cookbooks.
three books on cast iron pans. So there. But okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but,
Sorry.
she read an article basically saying that, like, the company that produces those long flutes,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
yeah, apparently they went bankrupt, and
Oh,
yeah, so, like, I didn't see any of that, but it was so I spent, like, 1 or 2 hours during that trip, like, "Let's go to the Cosmo," like, "We're here, might as well just go to the Cosmopolitan and, like, check it out," and use that as
what's
a kind
wait?
of as a center
What's
point.
what's what's the Cosmopolitan?
The hotel?
Oh, okay. I never
Yeah,
even heard of it.
yeah.
Sorry. I was like, is that like
The
I didn't know it was called
Cosmopolitan
that.
is kind of, like, centered there, like, where you can, like, easily access, like, the Bellagio and,
Right.
a bunch of other hotels, and
Like the
the
Wynn Hotel, for example.
Wynn's a little further down the strip.
Okay,
You know,
Cosmopolitan. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but okay.
it's one of the big ones there. Like they have like this, three like levels of like shopping and like whatever.
Wow.
And like we walked that, and it was fucking horrible. Like
Oh wow.
I hated. We both hated the strip. It was, and we stayed at the Palms, which is off the strip. It's
And
close.
that's a party hotel kind of. I stayed there before,
You
right?
know, that's
Like
the
they have a pool that and there's a big well, it used to be anyway.
I didn't know what to expect because like I remember when the Palms kind of like blew up in the
Yeah.
90s.
Oh wow.
And like and I it's 2025 obviously,
Yeah.
and like I didn't know what the hotel was like, but it was nice. It was there wasn't a lot of like we were there from Tuesday to Thursday, and there was not a lot of gambling going on.
Hmm.
But
I stayed there before.
the one they had a like one of the centerpiece bars they had there had the Damien Hirst shark, like in the center of the bar, or
Wow.
which I wonder how Damien Hirst feels about that, because it's kind of weird to like, I'm at a casino where the kids go, and
Did you
there's my
gamble at all?
no, didn't spend a
Not
penny,
even not even once. No.
not
Okay.
even once. Yeah,
Oh,
no.
those hotels hate you. Right? Don't they have like everything you scan? Like don't you have some kind of card that probably tracks everything you're doing? And they're just like, no gambling by this guy.
No, they
Mm,
charge you fucking resort fees, and the resort
yeah.
fees are fucking like stupid. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think,
Oh.
the resort fees for the Palms were basically like $98 a night on top
Wow.
of the yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Fuck.
When I stayed at, what was it? The Plaza at for DesignerCon, for like, 4 nights or whatever, it was $48 a night for their resort fees.
So each hotel has a different fee for resort fee?
Or, it probably has something to do with how nice their hotel is. So the nicer
Oh
the
wow.
hotel, the more expensive the resort fee is.
Right. So you still had to pay about $200 in resort fees for DesignerCon.
Yeah,
Well, that sucks too.
yeah, it
It
does.
sucks either way. Yeah, yeah.
But you
Because
get
you're
like,
paying for the hotel and then you get hit with a resort tax. I guess basically it's more of a tax.
yep, yep, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So like,
Shit.
you go in there thinking like you're spending $60 a night, but you're really spending
But
about $100 a night.
100, yeah.
So,
They,
um,
they get you.
yeah, might as well like get an Airbnb while you're out there. But the fun thing about like staying at somewhere like the Plaza, which is just like a mile down the road from where DesignerCon is that because like they promote it, they work in conjunction with DesignerCon, so you could get a quote unquote discount
I
for
see.
staying at the Plaza Hotel, and you're kind of helping DesignerCon when you do that.
I'm sure.
And when you're like walking through the casino between the towers or to your room or whatever, you inevitably run into colleagues and friends and people you haven't seen, and whatever. So you know
And
I
they're
don't know.
and they're gambling, losing their Sofubi money.
I heard a story about
Oh.
like one of the Asian artists artists from Asia that were out there. I think maybe they might have been from either China, Korea, or Japan. One of the big
Well,
three.
that's a good call because it's probably not from like, Pakistani Sofubi maker. No. Burma, the Burmese Sofubi maker. Well,
But
maybe, but
the guy
no.
would
Yeah, I
like
got you.
take all the money that he earned from the day and just burn through it at the tables.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's that? Ron Chang?
No,
Oh,
no, because Ron Chang
wasn't
uh,
there, right?
wasn't there, but
Oh.
like, yeah.
Was it a punk drunker guy? I'm kidding.
No, I
Oh,
saw
Mark Nagata did it. Mark Nagata did it. Mark.
I don't remember who the artist was, but I heard about him
Wow.
from another artist who is from Thailand, I think.
Hmm.
So I was just like, oh wow, like
Damn.
because like
Lost that sofa beam money.
a lot of that, a lot of it,
No, they
Asians
like that gambling.
Asians love to gamble, and
Yeah. They don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
So this weekend you got a show coming up, some
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
we have a show
film
coming
thing.
called Film School, and it's basically like painted film scenes,
Oh, really?
kind of in that plein air. It's the same artist that has
Oh,
have done that the plein air show that we have
oh,
every
okay.
year.
Right,
So it's
right,
going to
right.
be again lots of works
Like Peter
unframed on
Chang,
paper.
kind of some Peter Chang
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
Peter Chan. Yes, he
Chan.
did
Yeah.
one painting.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a lot of artists doing that, and it's going to be a fun because I already seen the art and it looks really good.
Mm.
Um, it's going to be a lot of it'll be kind of silly
Mm.
fun maybe. There's
Mm.
supposedly going to be an Oscars presentation with Oscars.
It's for the best whatever
Yeah,
scene.
art related, and I think there's going to be at least 12 Oscars presented.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
there's going to be a red carpet.
What?
Um, I might be wearing a suit, as will a lot of the other artists. It's like they're making it like a pseudo award show. So if you want to come and wear a suit, go have at it. But if you don't, it's okay too. You could do, But yeah, there's going to be a little bit of that. I'm presenting one award as well.
Okay. Oh,
One
well,
of the awards I'm presenting one.
who was the academy for that judged the work?
Oh, it's already probably done. It's the person. So I work with Kellen Jett and Woodrow Wilson are the two artists.
Mm.
Woodrow White, my bad.
Yeah.
Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was
That isn't that the
president.
president? Right.
No, Woodrow White. I'm sorry. And then, but they worked on the show and they curated it. Really, they're the ones that work on Sitting Outside. It's the plein air show that I've done. It's like 3 years in a row.
Mm.
And they just changed the topic basically and turned it into it's called Film School.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm sure they have awards. I'm presenting one, so I have to figure out that award at some point very soon. Who's going to win that?
And so the artwork is inspired from scenes from movies.
Movies, yeah. So
Okay.
there's like I've seen Rocky scenes, Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Uh-huh.
I've seen some paintings. Yeah, it's just rad because they're all, not all, but a lot of the movies are ones I like, and there's some film noir ones that I just don't know what they are.
Mm.
But there's a lot. It's just think there's probably 30 artists again. Like, plein air shows really packed. Tons of artists, and they all done, they've done some artworks.
Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah, it's a lot of film scenes. It's really cool.
How many pieces are in the show?
I have no idea. I can guess there might be 100,
Oh shit.
maybe. But most of the works are smaller, like yay big.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not making like 16 by 20s.
No.
They better not anyway. No, they're mostly smaller. But yeah,
That's
it's like,
great.
yeah, should be fun. It's called Film School, so if you want to come, wear a suit, wear a dress, wear anything you'd like, or not. But I mean, if you want to, go for it. And yeah, it should be cool.
All right. Well, there you
Yeah,
go,
man.
guys. That's
Yeah.
something to do. There's, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it all the way out to the west side, but
It's okay. You'll just miss out in the award presentation. You'll just
yeah.
miss out.
Well,
Who's going to win the awards? Who's going to win Best Picture? I don't know.
I don't
Who's
know.
going to win? There's going to be 12 different ones. I don't know what the titles of the awards are. Like each one. You know what I'm saying?
Are you going to force the award winners to give a speech?
Perhaps.
I think you should. I think you
Perhaps.
should.
And we need to have that music queued up ready so when they start rambling, we could just turn it up really loud, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's time to go to commercial." Like the Oscars do that, right?
Yeah, they do.
Charlotte thought of that, but yeah,
they're infamous for that. So
yeah, just cut people off.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, then, it's been an hour. It's time to wrap shit up.
All right. Oh, it's a wrap. Oh, we're past an hour. 104.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, you guys, everyone, thank you very much for tuning
Thanks
in.
a lot.
I did not look to see if anyone was watching the stream or if
Only one person, but there has been people watching this whole time.
Oh, that's nice.
There's concurrent viewers. There are concurrent viewers, people watching, but not many chatters, so it's okay. Chatter's quiet. But it's okay, everybody. We'll be back hopefully next week. Maybe.
Hopefully next week, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe something will like we'll have something exciting to talk about next week. Maybe we'll have a guest.
This was a good, but I like these two topics today: the book fair
Mhm.
and the licensing thing. That's I've been really curious about the licensing thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't feel like I mean, like, when I'll just say this, like, I went in with nothing except for, like, some stuff to, like, potentially hand out, and I walked away feeling like, "Okay, I have some people that might be interested in something, you know, we'll see
but
how."
people make careers on this stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like you go to licensing expos, this is like they make their careers there,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
literally, I know it's that important for a lot of people in small businesses. I don't know about small business, but small brands, I guess.
It was
They
a lot of
right?
business. There was
Yeah.
business going on there, like,
But I mean,
people
but
were.
all that's got to be set up ahead of time, right? Like, can you show up raw dog and just get anything done, or is that really hard to do? Because like you're gonna walk in there, nobody, you're a Bambi, you're walking there, nobody knows who you are. Let's just say you're not Luke Chu and
Right.
you're an artist of lesser fame. You walk in there and it's like nobody knows who you are. What do you do? You're just gonna be like, "Hi, I'm so and so, an artist. Look at my stuff." I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do?
Well, you probably, like, I mean, if they are some like, there are places, like, obviously, the biggest places are not
Yeah,
taking, like,
no,
on the floor meetings, but, like, when
no,
you go as the further in you go into the expo, the more, um, whatchamacallit, um, the more, like, I don't know, like, opportunities there are to, like, take, like, if you see, like, the booth and you see, like, oh, they look like they might have something that gels with what I'm trying to do,
right.
you can
So
go.
like instead of Mattel, it's Chitel, and you're like, oh, there's Chitel. I'm gonna go there.
I'm gonna go and
they
talk to Chantel because, you gotta start somewhere. If
right.
not
They make
everyone.
like My Little Bunghole instead of My Little Pony, right? It's like My Little Bunghole. Oh man, my character would be great on a My Little Bunghole, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah, or I've got my own take on, like, the My Little Pony thing. It's called My Little
right.
Bunghole. It's really
Yeah.
funny. I imagine it, being, here's an example of one of my little a prototype of my bunghole toy,
I see.
and, like, I have a 10-second, animation clip of,
Oh wow.
the bunghole in action. And
Wow.
but, like, you could go to, like, they have people, like, manning, like, tablets, and it looks like you can, like, go and, like, make time, set up, like, meetings and stuff, and even when through the website, through the Licensing Expo website, there is, like, a ton of, like, places, like, even 7-Eleven, whom ironically I did not couldn't find on the floor. Like,
Mm,
I, like, reached out to them about, like, like, love to talk to you guys, about,
right on.
doing something because, 7-Eleven rules. But
Awesome.
I don't know. Maybe we should have Anch on again.
Yeah, he can break. He can. Will he? Will Anch reveal the secrets?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
It's all
He
about
likes
that, or is it
he
gonna be like keeping it on the low and quiet? We
he
need. We
like
need. We need it debunked. We need to know.
he likes to hold on to secrets. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
we need to find a looser
I-
lip. We need looser lip version. Who does a lot of that. We'll figure it out.
yeah, we
Okay,
will.
everybody, let's
Yeah.
check out.
All right, man.
Sayonara.
It's